In this installment, we're going to be going over the draft grades for the 2023 NFL Draft. Let's get into it. Hey, yo! Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Chef D, and I'm here to bring you the winning ingredients for our draft grades of the NFL Draft 2023. But before I deep dive into it, guys, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you follow me on Instagram and Twitter at MetSnatchJetsD. Don't forget about that TikTok at Chef_D91. And don't forget about the Patreon. If you want more winning bets, we did pretty solidly on the draft as well. We got NFL playoffs finishing up, going through right now. We're going to get ready for our fantasy football drafts as well. Get it bright and early. We're doing best ball and we're doing regular fantasy football drafts. Okay, so guys, get locked in right now and do not miss out. The first team we're going to start off with will be in the AFC East, okay? We're going to go pretty much division by division and start off with the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo Bills here, I thought they had a pretty solid draft. I gave them a B+. Round 1 and pick 25, Dalton Kincaid here at tight end. I think that was a great pick right there. Obviously, they weren't too impressed with the wide receiver position. They went the Travis Kelce route and really went with a dynamic tight end to, put alongside of Josh Allen and Dawson Knox as well. But this one in here, Dalton Kincaid provides more catching ability and upside in athleticism. Okay, so this is a great pick right there. They also in round 2, they picked up Osiris Torrance, the guard. They definitely needed some help on that offensive line. Dorian Williams was the linebacker from Tulane. They lost Trayvon Edmonds in free agency. Justin Shorter was a wide receiver from Florida in the 5th round. And then Nick Broker, offensive tackle, they got late in the 7th, project type of tackle. Hopefully he can will his way as a solid backup for this Buffalo Bills. But overall, all in all, the main reason why it was a B+ was because of Dalton Kincaid, Osiris Torrance, and they went and got Tulane linebacker Dorian Williams. All right. The next team we're going to be looking for will be the New York Jets here. Okay. And now here with the New York Jets, this one, it could have been better. It really could have been better. It started off pretty rocky in round 1 with Will McDonald at edge. A lot of stuff came out a little bit after. Obviously, a lot of teams had a decent grade, at least a first-round grade on Will McDonald. It just felt like it was a rush pick at the moment because the Steelers was able to trade up above the Jets and traded with the New England Patriots to take the guy that the Jets really needed to help protect Aaron Rodgers and Broderick Jones, offensive tackle. So once that was off the board, the Jets, I thought they were going to go get Nolan Smith. That would have been an outstanding selection at edge, but we're thinking about the Robert Saleh defensive scheme here, and Will McDonald provides that. He's a perfect fit for the Robert Saleh defense. That's why they went after him. He has a nice bend, and he's great for the wide 9 scheme defensively, okay? Other than Will McDonald, they went and got Joe Tippmann. He provides stability and versatility on that offensive line. Guys like McGovern, Elijah Vera Tucker, and Tippmann can play multiple positions. So that was a solid selection there. Carter Warren at tackle. Hopefully he can become someone that can be a starter for the Jets. Hopefully, if everything goes well, then they don't have to, but obviously you need someone behind Dwayne Brown. Hopefully Becton can stay healthy and be fine there. Israel Abanikanda, maybe this is a question mark on the stability of Breece Hall, but I think he's going to be fine. And also, this is going to add depth to our running back room. We have a lot of running backs, the Jets do. All in all, Zaire Barnes, linebacker in the 6th, Jarek Bernard Converse, cornerback from the LSU. I really liked the last pick in the 7th round, Zach Kuntz. He was the standout at tight end for the combine, and they were able to get him really late in the 7th round. I think that's going to really come through, especially when you got a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers. He's going to definitely get the ball to those type of athletes, and Zach Kuntz is one of them. So all in all, up and down, but the Jets finished solidly with a B. It could have been better, but a B, all right? Next team we're going to go towards will be the Dolphins here. Overall, I gave the Miami Dolphins a draft grade B. I could have gave the Dolphins a little bit higher. Maybe it's just because of volume, but Dolphins did pretty solidly here. Cam Smith, cornerback from South Carolina, they got in the second round. The fact that he fell that far was pretty impressive that they got him there. Round 3, Devin A-Chain, youthful running back here from Texas A&M. He has a ton of upside, perfect fit in the scheme that they're going to be running for the Miami Dolphins. Elijah Higgins, that was an okay tight end pick. I understand Mike Gesicki is gone. They needed someone to back him up. They got him really late in round 6. They didn't really have that many draft picks, but they finished strong with Ryan Hayes, offensive tackle from Michigan, okay? Of that offensive line. Help protect Tua Tagovailoa. I thought that was a solid pick late in round 7. So all in all, Dolphins get a draft grade in B, all right? And then the Patriots, the New England Patriots, this one, they had a ton of picks. I could bump them up a little bit higher. Christian Gonzalez in the first round at 17, outstanding selection. Keon White, edge from Georgia Tech. That was a very good selection right there. They went and got Jake Andrews from Troy in the 4th round. I did not like the fact that they went and got a kicker in the 4th. Sidney Sowell was solid at guard. Keyshawn Boutte, I did like at wide receiver from LSU. They just had so many. They had a lot of picks in total. The Patriots had, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 picks. They really focused on defense. They went and picked up at least 4 cornerbacks. So they definitely want to help that defensive side there. But all in all, besides the first 2 picks, I don't like the fact that they went and got that kicker. I'm going to give the Patriots a C+ grade, all right? Next division we have here in the AFC North, we are starting with the Baltimore Ravens. They get an outstanding grade in an A, okay? I think they did absolutely outstanding. Round 1, pick 22, Zay Flowers out of Boston College. Outstanding wide receiver selection here to help bolster that wide receiver core with Odell Beckham, Rashad Bateman, Mark Andrews, and now they have a speedster here in Zay Flowers that's very explosive. That was a solid selection. Trenton Simpson is a super athletic linebacker out of Clemson, can play the safety, can play linebacker. He's a very versatile asset to have in the defense. Very similar to what they picked out in Kyle Hamilton. But Kyle Hamilton more of a cornerback. Simpson can definitely guard tight ends and slot wide receivers as well. Definitely, it's a good selection there. They got Tavius Robinson out of Ole Miss, edge. Kai Blue Kelly, cornerback out of Stanford, on a tackle from Oregon, and a guard in Andrew Voorhees in USC. So they definitely went defense, a little bit of offensive power to help Lamar Jackson. They just paid for, and then they wanted to protect their asset in Lamar Jackson with a tackle and a guard. Ravens did outstanding. They usually do each and every draft, and another solid one from them. The Cincinnati Bengals are going to be next on our list here. In the Bengals, they had a pretty solid draft. I give them a B. They started out with Miles Murphy, edge out of Clemson, in round 1, pick 28. Round 2, pick 60 was DJ Turner. Round 3, pick 95, Jordan Battle out of Alabama. That was a solid selection since they lost a lot of secondary help. Chase Brown, running back out of Illinois. That was an okay pick. Andre Aceves, wide receiver out of Princeton. That was an okay pick. They went and drafted a punter in the 6th round. That was pretty and they went and got DJ Ivory, cornerback out of Miami. So all in all, we're going to give the Bengals a B. I like how they addressed the secondary and that D-line. That was very prominent in those first 3 picks, and they definitely did solidly on those 3, all right? So next team we got the Cleveland Browns here. The Cleveland Browns, they didn't get their first pick until the 3rd round, pick 74, and they still did pretty solidly. Cedric Tillman to help in that wide receiver core. That was a solid pick. Pick 3, round 3, pick 98. They got a defensive tackle to help stop that run, all right? Out of Baylor, Saika Ika. Round 4, DeJuan Jones. The fact that DeJuan Jones fell this far, this is one of the reasons why the Browns had a very solid draft here. Offensive tackle out of Ohio State. He fell to 111, all right? Isaiah McGuire, edge out of Missouri. Dorian Thompson-Robinson, great insurance at backup quarterback to have someone that's versatile that can run and throw the football. So I like him out of UCLA. Cameron Mitchell, cornerback out of Northwestern, and Luke Weipler out of Ohio State. So Browns, pretty well. Very good draft here. I could bump them up to a B plus if I'm going to be totally honest. All right, and then the last bit of the AFC North that we have the Pittsburgh Steelers. All right, the Steelers literally stole some of the draft picks from the New York Jets here, and they did a very, very good job in this one. So the Pittsburgh Steelers with their first selection, I gave him an A, all right? Draft grade of an A. Broderick Jones, offensive tackle from Georgia. I already spoke about that. That was a steal. In round 2, early in round 2, they went and got Joey Porter, who he was supposed to get in the first round, but he fell to the second at pick 32. Keanu Benton, D tackle out of Wisconsin. Darnell Washington, tight end, to add to this talent pool of weapons. The fact that he's 6'7", he's basically a 6 blocker, and if you negate him, he's going to destroy you. Kenny Pickett is going to have a field day in the red zone with the weapons that he has now. Nick Herbig, edge out of Wisconsin, solid selection there. Corey Trice, Purdue, and Spencer Anderson, offensive tackle out of Maryland. Steelers, outstanding, and it started with a bang with Broderick Jones in that trade to move up ahead of the New York Jets. That was very key. All right, we're going to move on to our next AFC South. We have the Houston Texans. Now, this one, a lot of people want to give them a good grade. I'm more in the middle. I did not like the fact that they mortgaged their future for the first two, pretty much for Will Anderson, okay? Solid selection. I gave him a C plus overall. Solid selection is C.J. Stroud, quarterback at Ohio State. That was a lot of smoke and mirrors, a lot of teams, and everyone thought that the Texans were going to just go with the DN, the best available. No, they went and got their quarterback there in C.J. Stroud, and then they went and traded from 12 all the way to 3, gave up a ton of capital, next year's first, next year's second round as well to go on top of what they're giving up. And the Texans mortgaged a lot of their future to get Will Anderson at edge when they could have waited and got Tyree Wilson or another at least complemental piece at edge at pick number 12. There was a ton of options. They could have got Nolan Smith, but no. They could have got Will McDonald, but no. You mortgaged everything. You could have set yourself up year after year to build all these holes that you have for the Houston Texans. So C.J. Stroud, Will Anderson, a lot of people just look at that, just name value, but what did it cost? Okay, what did it cost is the huge problem there. Drew Scruggs, cornerback out of Penn State. I do like the pick of Tank Dell, wide receiver out of Houston. So Houston native, he stays in Texas. Dylan Horton, edge. Henry Toto, Alabama, that was a solid selection. Jarrett Patterson, center out of Notre Dame. Xavier Hutchinson, wide receiver out of Ohio State. And then Brandon Hill, safety out of Pittsburgh. So I didn't like what they did to move up, and that's why I gave them a C plus grade, all right? Next, we have the Indianapolis Colts. They made a huge splash, all right? This is why I gave them an A. At round 1, pick 4, everyone thought it was going to be Will Levis, but no, they went up with a huge upside. This can really, really pay off for the Indianapolis Colts. They went out and got Anthony Richardson at pick number 4. Julius Brents, cornerback out of Kansas State. He's solid. A perfect piece to the offense here. Josh Downs, wide receiver, slot wide receiver from North Carolina. Blake Freeland, offensive tackle out of BYU. Adamanamu Abadaware, defensive tackle. That's going to help out the defense very well. Darius Rush, cornerback out of South Carolina. Daniel Scott, safety out of California. Will Mallory, tight end out of Miami, which they got a ton of tight ends for this is more of a depth piece there. Sim Richards out of North Carolina. Titus Leo out of Wagner. Jalen Jones, quarterback out of Texas A&M. And Jake Witt, offensive tackle out of Northern Michigan. Outstanding selections from the Colts draft here, all right? GM, obviously, he had his back against the wall and he showed up. Hopefully this pays to fruition in this upcoming season. All right. Next, we're going to go to the Jacksonville Jaguars. I gave them an okay grade. I gave them a C. All right. Anton Harrison, they needed to help bolster that line for Trevor Lawrence. That was a solid pick there. Brent Strange, there were other options at that spot there in round 2 instead of Brent Strange to get at tight end. Tank Bigsby, not much of a need. You have your number 1 running back. And the backup last year was pretty solid as well, and Jermichael Hasty. So Tank Bigsby, okay selection at 3. Could have went somewhere else. Definitely probably needed cornerback or safety in that round 3. Ventrell Miller, linebacker out of Florida. Tyler Lacey, edge out of Oklahoma State. Yasir Abdullah, edge out of Louisville. Antonio Johnson, cornerback out of Texas A&M. Parker Washington, Penn State, wide receiver. Christian Braswell, cornerback out of Rutgers. Eric Hallett, safety out of Pittsburgh. Cooper Hodges. Just a lot of fill-in pieces here. Jaguars, I give them a C. They could have done better to me, all right? And then last but not least, we have the Tennessee Titans here. The Tennessee Titans, I gave them a B-. I could bump them up a little bit more. Just the fact that they got the value of Will Levis at where they were at. The fact that he fell that far. They went and got the guy that they needed, Peter Skoronski, at pick 1 and pick 11 there. And then pick round 2, pick 33, Will Levis, quarterback. The fact that he was still there, that was an absolute steal for someone that you thought you was going to get at pick 11. You get at pick 33. Absolutely outstanding. Chajay Spears does have a little bit of some knee concerns, but he's still healthy right now, and this is going to be a great backup to Derrick Henry. Maybe he can overtake him once Derrick Henry is gone, but right now, solid pass-catching running back to complement Derrick Henry. Josh Whyle, tight end out of Cincinnati. He has some decent upside. Jalen Duncan, he's huge actually. Josh Whyle is huge. I like him out of Cincinnati. Jalen Duncan, offensive tackle, and Colton Dowell, wide receiver out of Tennessee Martin. Okay, so I'm really impressed with those first 3 picks. Pretty much, no, actually, I like tight end too. So the first 4 picks, solid from the Tennessee Titans, okay? Let's go on to the AFC West here in the Denver Broncos. We're going to start off with them. We gave them a B-, okay? They could have got even lower. I should have bumped them down a little bit. I did not like their draft that much, okay? So they started out with their first selection, round 2. So Marvin Mims at pick 63 out of Oklahoma. I think there was better talent there at that pick 63. Drew Sanders, linebacker out of Arkansas. Riley Moss, cornerback out of Iowa. They only had 4 picks. And then J.L. Skinner, safety out of Boise State. They could have done more. They could have done a little bit better. I think I would bump them down to more of a C-, okay? We want to change that to a C- grade for the Denver Broncos. All right, the Kansas City Chiefs, they get a B-. I like what they did. Okay, I like what they did. They just fill in holes. They fill in holes. You already got your running back in Isaiah Pacheco. You're fine there. What else do you need? You need compliments at wide receiver since you gave up so much talent. So the Kansas City Chiefs really focused in on those selections, and they started off with their first one. The Kansas City started off with their first selection at pick number. Let's see where we got them at. All right, at pick number 31, all the way at the end, Felix Nduke Uzuma, DN out of Kansas State. He's going to be able to get to the quarterback, definitely build up a sign there. Nice core of edge defenders there. Round number 2, pick 55, Rashee Rice. This was my favorite selection there. SMU wide receiver. He has a ton of upside. Really like what he did in that Senior Bowl. And then round 3, pick 92, Wanye Morris, offensive tackle out of Oklahoma. That was a solid selection. They've been picking these offensive tackles and then really grooming them and becoming studs. That's why they gave up their previous offensive tackle, and now they went and picked out another one, Wanye Morris, and they're going to build and grow him as well. Shamir Connor, cornerback out of Virginia Tech. BJ Thompson, DN out of Stephen F. Austin. Keandre Coburn, defensive tackle out of Texas. And then Nick Jones, cornerback from Ball State. Outstanding job from the Kansas City Chiefs. We have the Los Angeles Chargers here. At pick 1, round 1, pick 21, Quentin Johnston, wide receiver out of TCU. This is a perfect complement to Justin Herbert. They needed speed, and they get speed with height. Okay, so Quentin Johnston fell to the number 2 wide receiver at TCU right here. Great selection, all right? Herbert has all size. He has all size in all of his wide receivers. Why not continue that trend? Could have been Zay Flowers, who's a speedster, but you get size and speed. I like the prospects of Quentin Johnston there. Edge out of USC, Thule. That was a solid selection. Deion Henley, linebacker. Definitely needed that. Darius Davis, wide receiver, TCU. He's more of your tricks wide receiver, screens. He's going to do sweeps. Darius Davis is the speedster as well. So they got 2 guys off that same TCU team there. And technically they got 3 because they went and drafted Max Duggan. All right, so Max Duggan is just going to be your backup pretty much. Hopefully nothing happens to Justin Herbert, but Max Duggan did very solidly in his last season in college football. So all in all, solid performance out of the Los Angeles Chargers. That's why I gave them a B-. Next team we have is the Las Vegas Raiders. They did okay. Tyree Wilson was solid. Michael Mayer was a value. Byron Young, DL out of Alabama, I thought that was okay. Trey Tucker, wide receiver. Jackson Bennett, cornerback out of Maryland. Aiden O'Connell, quarterback from Purdue. I don't think you really needed that. Christopher Tom Smith out of Georgia. Amari Burney out of Florida. Yeah, after the first 3 picks, I think it fell off from there. And the Raiders looked like Mike Mayock was drafting for them. So Raiders gave them a C+. Could have done a little bit better there, but I definitely do like the first 3 picks, especially Michael Mayer, where they got him at. All right. And now we're going to go over to the NFC East. We have the Dallas Cowboys here. And yes, everyone knows the story about Deuces Vaughn's father being a scout for that team. The Cowboys did good, okay, very solidly. They had a major concerns to stopping that run. That's why they got Mozzie Smith at pick 26, the defensive tackle out of Michigan. And then they went and got another Michigan guy, Luke Schoonmaker, tight end out of Michigan. There was better value there at pick 58. I could have went with another tight end there. Demarion Overshawn, linebacker. They really went heavy on the defensive side, so that's going to be a plus because they're pretty comfortable offensively. Valemi Vioko, edge out of San Jose State. Austin Richards, offensive tackle, that's good to build depth there. Evan Hall out of Northwestern, he's pretty solid. Deuce Vaughn, they say they went and got 2 running backs. You might as well just kept Deuce Vaughn, but Deuce Vaughn, understand that selection. They're going to be battling out for that number 3 spot at the running back between Evan Hall and Deuce Vaughn. Jalen Brooks, wide receiver out of South Carolina, he's pretty solid. So give the Cowboys a B. I like what they did with Mozzie Smith, and I like that they're addressing that defense at linebacker and edge. Okay, so on all levels, they went and got a guy, Eric Scott, out of Southern Mississippi. That was a solid selection as well. Next, we have the New York Giants. They did outstanding. All right. Other than there's another team in the NFC East that did, in the NFC East that did very well, but the Giants were right behind them, okay? Right behind them in their selections. Deonte Banks, cornerback at pick 24 from Maryland. A-, very good selection there. John Michael Schmitz, center out of Minnesota. That was a great selection to help protect Daniel Jones. Jalen Hyatt, he fell all the way to 73. He could be their number 1 wide receiver. They needed someone with size. That's all they did in free agency and get slot wide receivers. And now you got Jalen Hyatt that's going to compete and have some upside there as a number 1 wide receiver with Isaiah Hodgins and Slayton. Okay, so Hyatt has some upside there. I really like that selection. The fact that he fell. Eric Gray, running back from Oklahoma. Trey Hawkins out of Old Dominion. Jordan Riley, D tackle, and Javarius Owens, safety out of Houston. So it's a very, very good draft from the New York Giants. And then we have the Philadelphia Eagles. Okay, you see that grade right there. Okay. You see that grade right there. The Philadelphia Eagles, outstanding steals, all right? You might as well call them the Georgia Eagles, all right? Jalen Carter at pick 9. Nolan Smith at pick 30 at the end of round 1. Tyler Steen, offensive tackle out of Alabama. Sidney Brown. Keely Ringo in round 4 at pick 105. Steal. Absolute steal there. That's all you need to know. Those 3 selections right there set the roof off the draft there for the Eagles. A+, outstanding effort out of them. All right, and we have the Washington Commanders. They get a C grade. Okay, they made some questionable moves. They were Emmanuel Forbes. They let Christian Gonzalez fall. Emmanuel Forbes at 16, that was a question mark. Terrius Martin, they went and got another corner from Maryland there. Ricky Stormberg, okay, from Arkansas. Braden Daniels, offensive tackle out of Utah. KJ Henry, edge of Clemson. Christian Rodriguez, running back for Kentucky. It was a very mediocre draft from the Washington Commanders. That's why they get that C grade right there. We're going to the NFC North here, and we're going to start off with the Chicago Bears. They got a B+. It basically started before the draft, all right? Obviously, they traded back to pick number 9 and gave that selection to the Carolina Panthers. And from there, the Bears were just making very, very solid selections, okay? Darnell Wright, offensive tackle at pick 10, which they let Philadelphia come up, and they moved back again. They traded back. They were just collecting assets there. Jervon Dexter, D-tackle out of Florida. That was a solid selection. Tyreek Stevenson, cornerback out of Miami. Zach Pickens, D-tackle out of South Carolina. And then round 4, this is where they really hit a little hot streak here. Roshan Johnson, running back out of Texas. Outstanding selection there. He's going to win very soon that number 1 job. Roshan Johnson, the backup to Bijan. Outstanding selection there. Tyler Scott, wide receiver out of Cincinnati. I like him. Noah Sewell, linebacker out of Oregon. Terrell Smith out of Minnesota. Travis Bell, D, lineman. And Kendall Williamson. Bears did very well trading back, collecting assets, and making very smart moves. Finally, the Bears are improving. They get a B+, okay? Green Bay Packers. Green Bay Packers here had an opportunity to really make a splash. They did help out Jordan Love technically, but they really could have started off with a bang. They had the opportunity to draft JSN, and they said no, okay? They said no. The Green Bay Packers had that opportunity there at their selection and said no at pick 13. They went and got Lucas Van Ness, edge. Okay, they were keeping with the same story here with the Green Bay Packers. It doesn't matter if Aaron Rodgers is there or not. So, Lucas Van Ness out of Iowa, that was okay. Luke Musgrave at 42, they could have got another tight end there. Jaden Reed, I do like the upside of him at pick 50. Tucker Kraft, they went and got another tight end to South Dakota State. I don't think you really needed that. I understand you're getting more assets for your quarterback, but you could have just got JSN. You just could have got JSN. You went to Tavius Wicks out of wide receiver out of Virginia. Carl Brooks, the tackle. Anders Carlson, kicker. You're drafting kickers. Carrington Valentine, cornerback out of Kentucky. Lou Nichols, running back. And Anthony Johnson Jr., safety. And Grant DuBose, wide receiver. Very mediocre draft from the Packers. They could have done way better with what they had, all right? Lions, Detroit Lions here. This was, if you look at it, they did good and bad, okay? That's why I gave them a C. Jahmyr Gibbs, after the fact, okay, I get it. I like it. You're done with DeAndre Swift. You got your guy now in Jahmyr Gibbs that has home run hitting ability. I like him. You draft a linebacker early in Jack Campbell at pick 18. Yes, he was the best linebacker in the draft, but at pick 18, I think that's too soon. You went and got Sam Laporta over Michael Mayer. I think that was a mistake. Brian Branch was a solid pick there in round 2 at pick 45. That was a bounce back. Hendon Hooker, quarterback to build for the future. That was a solid pick. So you see the good and you see the bad there. So they did very good in round 2 and round 3. And then finish it off with Kobe Solsdahl and Antoine Green, wide receiver out of North Carolina. So mixed bag here for the Lions. They get a C+, okay? Next, we have the Minnesota Vikings, okay? Minnesota Vikings here. I gave them a B minus. Decent draft from the Minnesota Vikings. We're going to start off with pick 23, Jordan Addison. He instantly becomes the number 2 wide receiver in this offense. You lose, obviously, Adam Thielen. Jordan Addison fits right back in that spot. He's going to be pretty much battling with KJ Osborne. Osborne is a slot guy, but Jordan Addison is a very good route runner. We'll see if he can emerge above KJ Osborne and become that number 2 option behind Justin Jefferson. So solid selection there. Mekhi Blackman, cornerback out of USC. I like that selection. Jay Ward, safety. Jacqueline Roy, D-tackle out of LSU. Jaron Hall, QB out of BYU. Obviously, they've been looking for a backup quarterback to finally take over for Kirk Cousins. And maybe they can develop Jaron Hall and maybe become somebody. And then Dwayne McBride out of UAB. I do like the selection. That was really late at pick number 7. So B minus from the Vikings. Mainly, I like that Jordan Addison selection and that cornerback selection in Mekhi Blackman, okay? Next team we have is the Atlanta Falcons, all right? Great draft from the Atlanta Falcons. You got your stud. You got your guy. Arthur Smith is really happy right now. He got Bijan Robinson, running back out of Texas, the stud, one of the studs of the draft, right? Guys that you can really bankable dudes in the draft that are going to be future guys. Bijan Robinson is one of those dudes at pick number 8. Matthew Bergeron, you solidify that offensive line, and it helps out Desmond Ridder, right? You got your guard, and now you got a running game to help Desmond Ridder maybe can make some easier reads. Everything just becomes a little bit easier when you protect them and you give them some upside at that running back position there and Bijan Robinson, okay? Zach Harrison, edge out of Ohio State, solid selection. Clark Phillips, cornerback out of Utah. DeMarco Hellams out of Alabama. And Javon Gwynn out of South Carolina, offensive line. So Atlanta Falcons get an A, all right? Then we have the New Orleans Saints. The New Orleans Saints get an A as well. This team started off at pick number 29. Obviously, they traded with this was from San Francisco, Miami, and Denver. They went Brian Brees there. They addressed that defensive line. They went really defense heavy. I think they're pretty fine offensively with Chris Olave. They got their guy in Derek Carr. They have the running backs are coming. So Brian Brees, D-tackle, Clemson. Yes. Isaiah Foskey, edge, Notre Dame. Very good selection there. Round 3, Kendre Miller, outstanding selection at running back, TCU. That is a gem right there to help supplant all the stuff that's going on with Alvin Kamara, especially what's about to happen. He might miss the whole season. We'll see about that. Nick Sadevery, offensive tackle out of Old Dominion. Jake Hayner, quarterback out of Fresno State. Jordan Howden out of Minnesota. A.T. Perry out of Wake Forest. That's a sleeper selection at the wide receiver spot. I like him there. And then Alex Forsyth, center out of Oregon. Saints did a very good job. All right, Carolina Panthers we have next at pick number 8. My boy Eric's team right there. And they had an outstanding draft, right? You made it. You got to pick number 1, and you didn't mess it up, okay? You got Bryce Young, QB out of Alabama. Very good selection. This was the number 1 quarterback in the draft. There was no close coin flip between Bryce Young and CJ Stroud. Let's stop the tomfoolery. You look at the tape. The tape says Bryce Young, just hands down, all right? A grade right there off the bat. Second selection, Jonathan Mingo to help and build around Bryce Young. All right, you gave away DJ Moore in that trade to the Chicago Bears. Your number 1 really is Terrace Marshall. I like him this season, but you also need support there. And Jonathan Mingo is a guy that is a go-getter. He can definitely has catch in traffic. He high points the football as well. He's a very, very talented. I see some A.J. Brown tendencies out of Jonathan Mingo, wide receiver out of Ole Miss. Love him there. DJ Johnson has some very nice bend edge defender out of Oregon. That was a very good selection there. Chandler Zakvala, guard out of NC State, solid selection in, and Jamie Robinson. Good, very good draft from the Carolina Panthers, bouncing back, very strong list. I'm very, very happy to see what they're going to be doing this season, along with the Tennessee Titans as well. Very good, very patient draft from both of these teams there. All right, next we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Very quietly, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers had a good draft, okay? After all the bad that's happened to them, they lose Tom Brady. They almost lost all their cornerbacks, but they stayed. Tampa Bay Buccaneers bounced back very well. Kalijah Kancey D-tackle to help stop the run there out of Pittsburgh. Solid right there. Cody March, I like him. Offensive tackle out of North Dakota State. Not a lot of people liked him. Yaya Diaby, linebacker from Louisville. He's a very dynamic edge rusher there. I like him. Yaya Diaby out of Louisville. Big guy, but definitely can get to the quarterback. Soroka Dennis, center out of Pittsburgh. Payne Durham, tight end. Josh Hayes, cornerback. Trey Palmer, wide receiver. And Jose Ramirez, edge. Watch out for Jose Ramirez. He's not a baseball player. We're talking about someone that can get to the quarterback on the lower ranks there in college football, Eastern Michigan, all right? Not a lot of people are going to be focusing on these lower level teams, and the Bucks did that. I like that selection there at pick 196, all right? Next up, we have the Arizona Cardinals, all right? Arizona Cardinals here had a very good draft. They continued to move back. They made smart decisions very similarly to the Chicago Bears. They went and got their guy. They were up at 3. They moved back. They got Paris Johnson at 6, okay? Then B.J. Ojulari in round 2 at pick 41. Solid selection there. Garrett Williams, cornerback out of Syracuse. He got injured, but he's a stud. He's an absolute stud. Like him there. Michael Wilson. Michael Wilson is a big body wide receiver that can catch the ball very well. This is one of the few wide receivers that has the size and speed combination. Michael Wilson out of Stanford, low-key sleeper there. Love him at that selection. He might be someone that we could pay attention towards, but they are keeping DeAndre Hopkins. So DeAndre Hopkins, Michael Wilson, Rondell Moore, nice little trio there for the Cardinals. John Gaines, D lineman out of UCLA. Clayton Tune, maybe that's someone they can groom and build if it doesn't work out with Kyler. Owen Pappoe, linebacker out of Auburn. K-Trell Clark, cornerback out of Louisville. And then Dante Stills, D-tackle out of West Virginia, okay? So Cardinals, A-, very good draft there, being patient, moving back, and making smart decisions, all right? Next, we have the Los Angeles Rams here. The Los Angeles Rams had a solid, they had an okay draft. Let's calm it down. Let's calm it down there. The Rams, they started off with their first selection. Let's see. They had... All right, Los Angeles Rams, they had pick 36, round 2. They started a little late there. Steve Avila, guard. That was a solid selection. Byron Young, edge out of Tennessee. Kobe Turner, D-tackle out of Wake Forest. Stetson Bennett, you didn't really need that, out of Georgia. Nick Hampton, edge out of Appalachian State. Warren McClendon, offensive tackle. Davis Allen, tight end. They just had an enormous allotment of picks. They had 12 picks. They had 12 picks. They hit you with the majority of selections here, pretty much. It was an okay draft from no one really popping out from any of their draft picks here. They went and drafted a punter too. I've noticed this. A lot of these teams that have 9 or double-digit draft picks, they're drafting a punter or a kicker. You don't really need to do that. You need to just keep adding to the talent pool. Okay draft from the Los Angeles Rams. And then we have the Seattle Seahawks at A+ here. I love what the Seahawks did. Yes, we do have a little bit of a question mark on what they did at the running back position, okay? Now we have a little bit of a quandary, okay? So, Jair Brown, no, that's the San Francisco 49ers, excuse me. Devin Witherspoon, cornerback, to help go alongside Woolen. That's going to be a very nice 1-2 punch. JSN, wide receiver, the fact that he fell to 20. This is one of the reasons why I gave Seahawks an A+. They got an outstanding corner in Devin Witherspoon. They got Jackson Smith, the Jigba wide receiver, to be a number 3 and to supplant, obviously, an aging wide receiver that they have. Derek Hall, edge out of Auburn. Zach Charbonnet was a question mark there because they do already have their main guy. But Zach Charbonnet does provide some upside in the receiving department. That's why they went and got him. And they're going to have a nice 1-2 punch in that running back room. Anthony Bradford, O lineman. Cameron Young, D lineman. Mike Morris, edge. They really know what they're doing on that defensive side of the ball. Solid, very solid draft from the Seattle Seahawks. And then we have the San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers failed me. They got a D. Jair Brown, safety out of Penn State. Jake Moody, kicker in the 3rd round. What are you doing? All right. Cam Latu, tight end out of Alabama. Okay. Darren Luter, cornerback out of Southern Alabama. Robert Bill, edge out of Georgia. D. Winters. Braden Willis. Ronnie Bell, wide receiver. I do like Ronnie Bell. I like Ronnie Bell. But that's about it. This was a horrible draft from the 49ers. So those are going to be the draft selections that we have these are the draft rates that we have for the 2023 draft. Thank you guys for tuning in. Guys, we're going to be moving in towards some of the guys that really, the winners and losers for fantasy football drafts. After all this chaos that has went through, what are the guys that are going to be beneficiaries in our fantasy football drafts? We're going to be going over that soon, the very next. So thank you guys for tuning in. I'll be back with another video very soon, all right? Peace out.